Hi everybody, hello. Sorry we're a bit late. Our internet just went. So let's play you the intro. Hello and welcome back to my channel, Tarot with Anne-Marie. How are you all tonight? Are you well? Let me bring that light down a little bit. That's better. Now I can actually see my screen. Hi Carla, hi, how are you? Sorry we're late. The internet went, so therefore there was no way of streaming to you until it came back. Sorry about that, but we are still here. So, did you watch the tutorial that we gave the other night on the Six of Swords? A really powerful card, and one that I think we can all actually identify with. Having to leave something behind, having to actually just take help where it's been offered, even though we may not quite understand how much that help is actually going to transform our lives. So tonight we're going to look at tarot pairs using that minor arcana card. The swords are difficult, but do remember your suit. The suit is the most important thing, and the suit is quite simply all about matters of communication. It's how we're thinking, it's how we're actually speaking to ourselves, it's how we're talking to others, it's how others are having an impact when they are conversing with us. So let's go into our scene. So for those that you don't know me, my name is Tarot with Anne-Marie, and every week we look at a card on Thursday and then we show you how to actually combine that card. The card we've been looking at is the Six of Swords, belonging to the air family, and so that is Libra, Gemini and Aquarius. So what have we got on the screen? Let's say that we are looking at a pair, and the pair that we get is the Chariot and the Six of Swords. So both of these cards, notice, are about journeys. The Chariot is on the road kind of journey, and the Six of Swords is a passage, maybe a rite of passage, but it's actually a passage across the water. So both actually tell us that we are moving. Now, moving which way? Remember the suit, swords, mentally. So we're going to look at this as if somebody has actually asked, okay, what's happening to me? And at the moment, if we got this pair, we'd say, right, you are getting help, spiritual help. And so somebody might think, well, does that mean that Auntie Gladys is going to pop in? No, probably not. Probably wouldn't like that if she did. But really, spiritual advice that comes from the divine will come in something that is going to help us emotionally. Why? Because we've got the Chariot, and helping us move on because we've got two movement cards, and also to help us ease that mental pressure. So we may be leaving something behind, something that has been troubling us, leaving our troubles behind and moving in a positive direction. Chariot is a card of willpower. It's connected to the dispatch of things. It's also linked to the astrological sign of Cancer. So in some readings, it can be that Cancerian aspect, depending where it is in your placement, will help you with timings. There's all sorts of different techniques, and if you want to learn about timings, you really do need to look at my courses, where in the advance we go through very specific methods of how you can tell when something is going to actually happen. I prefer to use the term that this is something of the background effects that will give us a clue as to where, when, how and why, and who, what, where and when, all of those. But in timing and a time scale, there are many different ways in which you can use your tarot cards in a very specific way. And it's not this, it could be this, it could be that. It's definitely, it's A or B. There's 2 different places specifically for timing, makes it really easy. And if you know your cards and you actually know what the timing is telling you, you'll be able to do that instantly. There is also a 3rd method that I teach you in the advanced. Now, I'm not going to do that here because that's another story. But what we are looking at is how can we combine cards. If you are combining cards, people get confused about me talking about combining. You can do what you like, of course. Some people use a second card as a clarification from a different deck, or they will use an oracle card or something, angel card, whatever. But what I'm talking about is being able to actually use a method where you shuffle your deck after dividing up your major arcana in one pile and your minor arcana in the second pile. Therefore, for every time you want to actually read a question, you are going to use a pair to form the answer. Now, I really keep talking about using a spread because otherwise you are just getting tidbits of information like yes and no. And for some, that might be all right. But really, if you are going to give professional readings, and that's what I'm here to teach you, if you don't want to do that, fine. You can actually incorporate it anyhow you like, take what you want. But we're taking it right up there so somebody would hire you as a professional reader because you've got the capacity to be able to provide a time duration tarot reading, such as being able to say, you can do 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40, 60, whatever. All right. Hi there, Mortali. How are you? From Connecticut, USA. How fantastic. Early in the morning, I think, in your part of the world. And I hope you're having a beautiful day. And it's been very warm here and very lovely. I've got some exciting news that I hope I remember to reveal to you at the end of our tutorial tonight, something of an extra, so do stay tuned to find out what that's all about. So our spiritual direction, moving in a positive direction to do with maybe something to do with home. Why would it be something to do with home? Anybody? No? Okay, the Chariot card. So in this case, let's say somebody's saying, what's happening for me? How am I going to actually progress? And so let's say that in the spread that I teach you, that you are looking in the position of the person that's having the reading, and we are looking at them in their physical self, the position of the self. Now, in the spread, there are different aspects of the self. There's the physical, which is the one I'm talking about. There is the emotional. There is the influences of communication, i.e. the mental self, and there is the spiritual self. And in the intermediate, we bring in the first house in astrology, which is Aries, which represents me. So we are not talking about any of those apart from the first one I mentioned, physical. So then we are saying, right, okay, this person's saying, what's going to happen? And they say, oh, in the next 3 to 6 months or year, whichever you can do for me. And you say, okay, off we go. And this comes up in their physical self. And they are asking what is going to happen to them, just generally. Not easy. Okay, what you can say is, I feel that you're moving on. I feel that you're leaving behind a lot of mental woes. I feel that you are being guided to do that. Being guided is coming from the Chariot, and stresses mentally are coming from 6 of Swords that they are leaving behind. We're not pulling sort of, an immediate answer to say it's over right now, because the 6 of Swords, they've not completed their journey. Do you see? So it's on the way to getting better. Hi, passionate Saji. Great stuff. You're listening in while you get the chance. That's absolutely wonderful. Okay, so that's talking about a passage away, probably from our domestic life, because we've got the Chariot affecting the person. Physically means this is something that's actually happening. All right, I want to get that clear. All right, even though we've got Six of Swords being affecting the mental and the communication, so that's how the mind's working, the communication. We've got it in the physical self. So this pair tells us about what they're going to do, and it tells us in which places, i.e. the element. So Chariot's the element of their emotions. It's also the fourth house in astrology, which links to domestic matters. It's also Cancer, which relates to domestic matters. And it's also about willpower. So it's the willpower. Where do we get that from? Okay, the Chariot, if you look at our charioteer, that fellow, hasn't got any reins. But that chariot is being drawn by a black and white sphinx, and he has nothing but what looks like a wand in his hand and no reins. So sheer willpower and determination is causing that chariot to get on the road and move. And that's where we get movement, get on the road. Don't miss out on the absolute obvious. The Chariot is anything to do with journeys by road. And the Six of Swords, of course, is to do with movement mentally, but also boats and water and emotions. Emotions in the Six of Swords because of the amount of water and the fact that being shown on the right side of the boat is that turbulent side, and then there's that smoother, calmer sort of clear sheets of water on the left side of the boat. They're not there yet. They're on their way. So that's what you're saying. You're on your way too. You haven't arrived yet. It's not showing them, getting off that boat. Hasn't showed them arriving at their destination. All right. So, any questions, anybody on that one? It's great that you're watching every week, Mortali. I really do appreciate that, I know that Facebook sometimes can be a bit up and down, simply because 1 minute they change the rules. So if ever you're wanting to follow or you want to watch anything that's catch up, you'll find everything in YouTube. It's a much better platform to actually say, where's the playlist, where's this, and you don't have to search. Whatever makes you comfortable, but things have just changed recently in Facebook where you can no longer multi-stream, i.e. through Zoom or Ecamm or I think it's Streamlabs or StreamYard, I can't remember the name of it, or Restream. Any of those where you're able to actually bring in a stream where it's going to go out to different places, and you can't just go and do everything. And yes, we can go into Instagram here, but unfortunately, if we add that, it's a bit more complicated because it's vertical streaming, and yeah, it's not the easiest. So sometimes I'll hop on there as well, just in case anybody wants to actually look at the different platforms and what we're actually doing. So another one, nobody asked any questions. Let's go up here. Okay, High Priestess, whoa, 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 beautiful card. All right, what's happening to me in the next 3 to 6 months, maybe a year, please? Could you help me? Can you tell me what's in my cards? And you pull out the High Priestess. If you just had that card, you'd be saying, oh, I think you're psychic, I think you're very intuitive, I think there's a secret going to be revealed to you. Yeah, about what? Oh, I don't know. Oh, it's in your physical self. Well, must be happening now. Well, no, because the High Priestess says the opposite. The High Priestess is telling you this will be revealed to you in the future. Right, so how do we read this? Let's feed the energy of the Six of Swords into the High Priestess. So we know a little bit about the person, the current having the reading, and we know that they are quite intuitive and quite sensitive. and that they are somebody that people probably come to because they feel that they are going to get some beautiful, pure, impartial advice. A high priestess is a bit like going to a religious sort of organization, but the difference is when we go to the high priestess, we go to the high priestess because we want to and because we feel we want to. Simple as that. It's because it fulfills something in us. So our current, our client, is the high priestess. Feeding the Six of Swords tells us that our querent, who is the person that everybody probably goes to because they feel comfort, they feel that they're very black and white, they feel that they're getting impartial advice, they feel good around that person. But our querent themselves has had to move on. They've had to change something. And they're on that journey right now. And it's a journey of how maybe they are talking to themselves. So let's say that this was somebody that said, well, really, there's an awful lot going on. And what I really want to know is, am I going in the right spiritual direction right now? And is my spiritual business going to actually take off? This is a card where you'd say, well, you are gifted as the high priestess because it's a very psychic card. And you're moving that along. And what's happening is, if we're talking about are you going to progress, absolutely, in your spiritual journey, are you going in the right direction? Yes, look at the Six of Swords. That knowledge is academic, i.e. it's things that have been told to them. So the Six of Swords in this case could actually be mentally somebody's helping them navigate and move on. Their understanding of how they get to where they want to be in their spiritual life or their spiritual business. Do you see where that's coming in? They're moving on because of swords. And don't think it's an emotional thing. We're not asking about a relationship. We're not asking about heartbreak. We're not asking about the past. We're not asking, what are they doing in their career? They've given you a real general sort of, can you look at me? And, how am I getting on? You know they're going to actually start doing it because it's in the physical. You know they're going to have the mental capacity to be able to achieve that, but they'll probably need someone else. Okay, so any questions on that, anybody? I know it can be tricky, but if you keep it really kind of, your major card is the event of or them. That's what they are up to now. That's where they are. That's the stage in their journey. They're being psychic. They're being guided. They are, two cards have been guided. We've got the Chariot there, spiritual again, but that was more domestic matters. The High Priestess is much more about intuitive matters, but it also tells us an aspect of the person that's having the reading is definitely a high priestess. It's part of them. We're all psychics, whether or not we listen. They're listening. Not only that, someone is helping them get there. Someone's giving them that mental knowledge in their communication. So it might be somebody who's a teacher, might be somebody that has maybe shared something or given some sort of recommendation about how they got there. Oh, I've done this course, it was brilliant, and that's how I ended up working as in the way that I am with my psychic sort of and spiritual sort of side of the business. So it's really about what is the question and where is the position and what suit in the minor arcana. But don't forget what the major card is telling you. Okay, it's really important. I'm going to do this one. Wasn't the one I wanted, sorry, this one. All right, we've got the Empress and the Six of Swords. Pardon me for a moment. I was sweating there thinking, we've got no internet. What am I going to do? How am I going to get this out? You're going to miss your class. When can I do it? The stress. Okay, and then it came back. I thought we were out for the count for the night. There's just not enough power from my data on my phone to have run this. Okay, I've got a really good one for you here. Let's say the person again is saying, how am I going to get on? And you go, okay, where are we looking? We're looking at you, and it's like, I am. And so you could say, okay, looking at this, I feel you need to value yourself. And they go, spot on. What's going wrong with me? So straight away, you've made a connection, and they're probably going to tell you, yeah, I do need to value myself. Do you know what? And this is why I picked this one. Do you know what? I am really struggling at my own self-care, and my waistline is expanding, and I'm not happy. And everything and anything that I've been doing, just simply, I've put other things first, or I've just not been in the right frame of mind. So if this came up, and this was the Empress, which is the client, you'd say, okay, self-care, loving yourself, looking after yourself, eating healthily, as we can see the background of the Empress there. And that would also indicate that this person would do really well to be able to have a good variety in their nutrition, and for it to be as much as it's possible to do so, that things are made from scratch. Why? Because the Empress is, it's very pure, and we've got nutrition coming from the land. Look at the lay of the land. You've got that corn growing there. You've got, that lush sort of scene behind, the sun causing everything to grow, for everything to harvest, for everything to be abundant. You've got the green there. Getting the support from the universe is coming in from that green behind her. So what you'd probably say here is, what? You actually need some help with this. Does anyone know why I am saying that this power would be about answering in such a way? Yeah? This person's saying, oh, look at me. And you go, you need to value yourself. And they go, yes, it's nothing to do with work. It's to do with me. I'm really unhappy about the fact that I'm not looking after myself. And I really know I've got to put myself first. I don't know what to do. The Six of Swords tells you that they will progress in what they're asking, but they're not there yet. But it also tells us that they need, just like when we see those figures in the boat, 3 of them, yeah, we need some help. We need the ferryman. We may be the one that needs the ferryman in this case. And it's like, oh, it's not a teacher. Could come up as a teacher. Anybody know what card we'd be looking at if we were looking for a teacher? I know people are listening. I'm going to give you a minute. I'm going to leave that question there. Does anybody know one or several of cards, the possibilities of what could be a teacher for us? So I'm going to leave that there for a minute, because I'm going to play you your keywords for tonight that might help and give people a chance to answer the tarot card or cards that could represent somebody is a teacher. Okay, I'm not sure if the sound played on that one, perhaps due to earlier on with everything that was going on, my pods did not connect to tell me if that was playing for you. I'm sorry if it didn't. So nobody has answered. 12:15. You answered that earlier. So yeah, 12:15. Lovely. Okay. So got it. 12:15 where you are. So it's not morning. You were just going into midday. Yeah. Full moon tomorrow. Full moon tomorrow. Okay, and good time to manifest things. A very good time to be able to manifest things. So do bear that in mind, people, and it's a great time. When the cycle of the moon is around, it's a good time for us to actually, when it's halfway in its phase, for our intentions to be set. You know, if you want to do something, it's a good time to browse. And when we get closer to the full moon, it's time to actually turn around and get much more serious about your intentions and be more pushy about what it is you want, more absolutely certain and clear about what it is you want. Okay, so just a reminder on that one there. Right, so nobody's come back with who could be a teacher. Well, there's probably several, right? But let's look at the fact that one of the teachers would be, and the most obvious one, a Hierophant. Why? Because the Hierophant links to organisations, and the organisations could be schools, colleges, universities, places where, like hospitals, where we can train to have our vocation as a whatever your job is, a nurse or a radiographer or a doctor or a surgeon or whatever. Those kind of places, or where we can actually learn our craft in an organisation, maybe by the government. You know, I remember when I was at school, people used to go off and do, I don't know what they called it, some sort of YTS at the time, which really what it meant was if you are a youth, you are training and you are shadowing someone to see what the job is all about. And those are people that are teaching you various aspects in different ways. So we were talking about the Empress, and there's several different other options that we could have as a teacher. One that I would say is more, it is a teacher, but more of I would say a professional advisor would be the Hermit. And of course, then we've got court cards. So, take your pick. There's lots of different things, but the most obvious would be, if you're looking for a teacher, you're looking for the Hierophant. I would tell you about somebody who's a teacher. All right. Why? Because of the organisation. It's the most obvious one of all. Okay. So the Empress and the Six of Swords is telling us that she needs to nurture herself, but she needs help. What kind of help does she need? Does she need to go to the gym? Maybe, because we've got a movement card in the Six of Swords. But the movement could only be that it's the gym, because it's come up in the physical position, I beg your pardon, in the physical position of the spread. That would give you a clue. But it's in the suit. Look at the suit. It's about communication. So this person who is asking, how can I actually value myself more and bring my waistline down and look after myself so I get the best out of myself, and I want to lose weight. How can I do it? I don't know what to do. And it's like, actually, you need help. But you need somebody that you can talk to. Why is it talking? Or somebody that's going to actually give you that information by the written or the verbal. Where is that coming from? It's coming from the swords, because it's about communication. It's not about the physical activity of the gym, which would be wands. It's not about them needing counselling, because that would be more to do with Could be, because, you know, sometimes counsellors do need to work on the actual mental process, but I would say keep it simple, definitely emotional, okay, psychological, all that kind of thing. But this is saying, yes, this is somebody that needs to help you move on with your mindset. So that could be something they read, it could be someone they talk to, it could be information, it could be the fact that they go and listen to a group or join a class, or that they are in a group or a class. Physically, possibly, because it's in the physical position. Mentally, yes, somebody that's going to give them that capacity to develop their thinking in a different way. And how are they going to get on? Well, if we look at the jumble behind them on the right, it's probably been bumpy. Looks like plain sailing to some degree if we look at the Six of Swords on the left of the boat. But do remember, as I spoke about in last week's tutorial on Thursday, all about the Six of Swords, and if you've missed that, go in the playlist, you will find it in there, and Tarot, Six of Swords. I've got a playlist for you to find everything if you missed something. Not everybody is around at this time of day to watch everything. I know that it can be hard, but if you saw that, you know, it really was telling us that the Six of Swords is, we've got the swords in the boat. And that means that even though we are leaving something behind on those choppy waters, then unfortunately, those swords represent the fact that that old thinking from, and I explain the Six of Swords and I will explain it again, and that is that those six swords represent how you got to where you are right now. And it's not, six is a number of progress, of course, but in order to value yourself, you will probably have to look at your old patterns of thinking. Number one, we have six swords there, and on the right hand side got represented three swords clumped together next to the lady that's huddled with the shawl, the golden shawl or the brownish shawl around. That represents the heartache from the past of maybe things not really hurting for her mentally. She's hurting mentally about this. So if she says, oh, I'm really not losing weight, what on earth is going on? It's like from the past, even though somebody's going to help and direct you and you're going to make progress, you're still carrying those old patterns of thinking with you. They're not, we can't throw them out the boat. That wouldn't be very ethical, but the boat would sink because they're being used to actually keep the boat watertight. So don't forget old ways of how we think, our old belief system. You know, just because we can go to the gym, we can go, you know, and get advice and help from anywhere, you know, Slimming Club, Weight Watchers, whatever you want to call it. We can go to a specialist, we can go nutritional classes, you know, we can re-educate ourselves. But the old self mentally will still be ticking along. We can see that in the Six of Swords. So it'll still be, you know, oh, I'm really into this habit of healthy eating and I'm losing it and it's great. But still, you might turn around and reach for a bigger portion simply because mentally, you know, your mind still takes you to habits from the past. Three of Swords. Four of Swords is also represented there because if we look at the three and one that's slightly lower on the left, almost at the front of the boat, that represents the Four of Swords, where we actually just couldn't cope. It was all too much. So we had to just withdraw into ourselves to recoup. Maybe it was all too much. And that recoup that's been going on does actually tell us that that's coming with us on the journey as well. Then we've got that good old Two of Swords. Oh dear. The Two of Swords. Not being able to make a decision. Remember the Two of Swords, our figure? If you haven't watched these videos, do go into the playlist about the Two of Swords, well, all of the swords, because the more you understand that as we progress, how it all fits together. So we don't suddenly, do we? We don't suddenly go, I'm going to look after me, I'm going to nurture me, and I'm doing this and this and this and this and this. And suddenly it's all happening. And we go, oh, you know, I've got the willpower to do it now. You may have. But you are still going to actually think like you used to if you get this card. You probably will anyway, won't you? You know, we don't suddenly reprogram and leave everything out. We are in a position to be able to say, hey, hang on a minute, you know, that's part of the old me. I forgot for a minute. So we've got that. So that indecision. And that indecision could be, you know, I don't know whether to go for this diet. I don't know whether to do healthy eating. I don't know whether to actually give that up, you know, just proteins, no carbs, or whether I do, oh, I don't know, there's so many, aren't there? You know, you know what I mean. Oh, I tried that. Oh, the soup diet. No, I'll do that. I'll do that. I'll do that. And maybe that indecision of sticking with one thing. Whereas if you actually join a class or you join a group or you get a teacher, they'll go, no, just do it this way. Yeah, that's fine. Maybe not that, maybe this. They'll give that guidance. They'll help you how to think about your progress. That's what they do. That's why sometimes people do join slimming clubs or Weight Watchers or whatever it is, because they say, I can't do it on my own. And they also need, you know, that support from someone else, you know, being accountable. They're doing it for themselves, but, you know, they've made a commitment to actually say, I'd like to be in your class, please. And you've given me a space. So I've got the courtesy of turning up every week, you know, and if I am having an off day, it's like, what am I going to say this week if I don't make progress, you know? So this person would need help. And this is a really good example of nurturing oneself. And I picked the question about weight because you would be surprised how many times people will ask you that question. Any questions, anybody? Okay. Right, the other sword I haven't mentioned this far is the Ace of Swords. Now, the Ace of Swords is a good one. Why is it a good one? Because that is your spark of inspiration mentally and how you're going to start communicating to yourself. And it's a double-edged sword, yeah? And the double-edged sword will be the old me and the new me. And I've got to make sure I'm aware of both. So that's where your Six of Swords would come into anything. But this was a beautiful example of the many, many sort of questions that you can get asked. And I wanted to talk about the physical position and the journey of moving mentally in our question and what it means to combine a pair. So yes, it can seem complicated, but it's not, you know, and you've got it. If you know your cards and you know your position, well, I'm looking at what they are doing. That's what physical means. What are they doing? Oh, I don't understand. I've got swords. That's not doing. Yes, it is. They're doing the mental stuff. What's the other card? It's how they are, where they're at. Let's do this one. Same question. Let's make it about weight loss. Okay, I've joined an organisation. Yeah, I've joined it. I've got a teacher. They're fabulous. There's a whole load of people and I am learning. But like the Hierophant, it's a bit like you belong to that, and it's not like going to the High Priestess for your spiritual advice. You've got to make a commitment to something like the Hierophant. It's stability. It's about turning up probably every day, if it's a school, or every week at least. So you've got some teacher or some guru that is really enlightening you and helping you move your thinking. You know, maybe it may even be, oh, let me think what they call them, motivational speakers, you know. Sometimes people say, let's use an example of, I went to this great speaker, you know, in TEDx, or Tony Robbins, or Mel, you know, any of these, or Oprah, you know. I joined their academy. I joined their school of thought. I am part of an organization here. There is more than just the guru. There is the whole, the audience, if you want to call it that, the clients of the guru. You are in some sort of organization. I wouldn't say this is something like a slimming club. I would say this is much more along the lines of it's higher end, as I said, maybe motivational, you know. Oh, I'm going to change my life, you know. I've signed up for this and I've paid my money and I'm going to really go for it, and I've been inspired by this person because they're showing us in different areas of life how you can change your mindset. So that is what this pair could mean if we had our question like I suggested. So let's have a look. Hello, I'm very well, thank you. How are you doing? Nice to meet you. I don't think we've met you before, G-Start1. I know there's a whole load more there of numbers, but we're calling G-Start1. So interesting, isn't it? How much you can dig. And if we dig, my controls disappeared there for a minute because I pressed being able to see the right side of the car. I've got my window, folks, has got me, the cards, and everything that you see. But then I've got all these little sort of, they're icons, just like you get at the bottom of a Mac or on your phone, you know, all those things. But they are all going up the right-hand side, and then I've got stuff across the top, and then I've got various things along the bottom. So my frame gets smaller and smaller and smaller, and then I can actually make that just disappear for a minute, but then I can't make anything work if I actually cause it so that I can see. So yeah, I like to be really looking at what I'm talking about to you, because every time, you know, even I see something new, you know, we all do. None of us know everything, and don't feel that you must or you should. You never will. Even an expert is only an expert a tiny bit. Remember that. So, you know, it's like somebody said to me, gosh, you know, you do astrology. Yes, but I'm training to actually strengthen that muscle. I've used it for years and years, but now I'm really going for it. But I'm not there yet. I am partly trained. I'm getting there. It's getting stronger. And yeah, I've done this actually. I've signed up for a guru with a class and a whole community where we all turn up. And boy, does it go fast, you know. Do this, do your courses, do your homework, turn around and get this, read that book, do that, you know, and then turn up for the tutorial. And it's like, oh my gosh, I don't know how. Well, I am going to say out of, I don't know how many, there was only me in the tutorial the other night until one other came along, and that's out of, goodness knows, 100. Simply maybe wrong time of day, or, you know, they're going to watch the playback, or, yeah, just, well, that's how it goes, isn't it? So let's do one more. Sorry about the doggies barking. Going to make this our last one. Okay, so temperance and Six of Swords. And let's say our person is going back and saying, am I all right? What's going on for me? What do I need to know? I wonder if I'm going down the correct sort of, am I doing the right things? You know, am I following my correct sort of spiritual compass? And you say to them, actually, you are. But, you know, there's a variety here of things that you've done or are doing that are still forming, and you are getting there, and you are sort of mixing and blending something together, and they go, oh gosh, yeah, I'm doing tarot and astrology and combining it like that. So that's brilliant. You've got this fusion. You're using the two things together, and that is taking you places. And it's like, yes, it is, because when I was only doing astrology or I was only doing tarot, I was getting stuck. I was okay, and then I'd hit a bump, and then I was okay, and I'd hit a bump in my thinking, in what I was actually saying, in how I was actually forming my conclusions based on my knowledge. Because again, swords, thoughts, it's our knowledge. It's our academic. Don't forget that. Yeah? So, oh, my light's dimming again. I don't know why it does that. Put me in the dark now. There you go. Turned it back on again. And it's gonna get I'm gonna have to get a new light. It's a bit like a wand, that one. So what are we talking about here when we're actually looking at temperance? Well, temperance is a kind of mixing and blending, particularly when another travel card. Does anybody know why it's a travel card and what form? Remember earlier we talked about the chariot on the road. We've also got the other travel card there, Six of Swords, across the water. So we might drive across the water. We might go on the ferry, mightn't we, taking the car with us? Don't just look at, oh, there's only 3 people there. Think outside the box, okay? It's all symbolic of where you're at. So temperance is linked to Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is long distance travel, higher learning. So how am I getting on? Yeah, am I taking the right path? Yes, going into higher learning. It's moving you on academically. You're learning more knowledge. Your thinking's different. You're building and strengthening your tarot and your astrology combined, and you are probably exploring something from different cultures. Well, I'm learning the Koch system of astrology as well as Placidus, and of course there's many more, yeah, but I'm choosing to go with that because that's where my professor, that's his preference. We can do what we like, but it makes sense to actually temper what I already know with Placidus system and go with the Koch system and combine the two, which is exactly what temperance is. And I'll give you another one. My tutor is overseas in America. So that's temperance for me. So this is a pair for me at the moment. Higher learning, connected to overseas. My teacher is overseas. Yeah. He is combining 2 schools of thought. And my teacher is also my numerology teacher, although I've kind of gone, I'm not progressing any further with that one because that's come to an end. I might take that on next year. I want to really focus on the astrology and fuse it with the tarot, which I've already started to do. So that was my news to you. My team are putting together on the website a brand new astrology part for you, and we're starting and kicking off with the pet report. So what's a pet report? For anybody that is interested in learning about your fur babies or whatever, maybe, you know, your fish, Margaret, or maybe your feathered friends, Margaret again, because Margaret now has fish, but she had parrots for 30 years until Teddy and Misty passed. I do hope Margaret's watching this because I know how much they meant to her. So my point being able to blend things and learn things and temper things is combining things we already have. So I'm combining tarot and astrology, which I've always done, but I'm strengthening the astrology by learning a Coke system and going much, much, much deeper than the tarot cards took me. But my teacher, believe it or not, is not just a numerology teacher. In examples in the class, up comes his tarot cards. I've got to ask him about that. I didn't like to interrupt him. But up came the tarot cards, and he showed maybe 10, and his knowledge was phenomenal. So, yeah, I'm with somebody that mixes and blends a lot of things. He's from another culture. And I always say or we always say, should I say, because it's nice for me to have a rest while others sometimes talk. When I talk when I'm doing this and giving readings, it's really nice to sit back and actually go, ooh, I want to actually take that information in. Just like the Six of Swords. I'm the lady sitting there going, yeah, I'm moving on. You know, I was struggling a little bit with how on earth do you actually put a birth chart together, in the Coke system. I can do it in Placidus, but I want to learn the Coke system, and I want to know much, much more about aspects and transits and conjunct and all these squares and trines, and I know a little, but I don't know as much as I would like, and so that's what I'm exploring. And of course, everyone has their horoscope or their natal chart done, don't they? Because they want to know what's going to happen and how things might pan out, just like they do in tarot. So I've already been using that and fusing that for some time. So our pet report, yes, you can actually find out all about your pet. This has been something I've wanted to do for a long time, but in particular I've found that this very short, sweet report, it's not pages and pages, because, we're not dealing with a human, okay? We are dealing with maybe horses or your dog or your cat, and also people do adopt or foster, or they take on a puppy out of a litter or whatever. And so what can it do for you? Well, there's a whole load of blogs that I'm in the process of writing. I think I've done 9, 2 more to do for this week, and they'll all be up there to explain. And so you are able to look at many, many questions that you might have about your pet. So do have a look at that. Don't forget, we've got a free birth chart on there as well. I have to say that birth chart is a free one, and it is not the one that's writing the report for you. It comes from a professional software that I program in for you, okay, and then do some calculations to give you that report, so it's specific to your fur baby or feathered or scaled or hoofed pet, right? So yeah, you can horse, cat, dog, fish, parrot, all there, right? Free birth chart, let's have a look at it. This is something you'll never have to pay for as long as I can actually keep providing it for you free. That's what we'll do. Okay. So this is the birth chart, and there you go. This is what you do with your pet. On the one, if you order that, I would need the details of their birthplace. But for you, this is for you. This is an astrological wheel. Why does it help when you're learning tarot? There's so much astrology and numerology combined. Therefore, if you put that in, you can go into interpretations, and up comes your report for free. Very simple, very basic, but it's free. And if you look at how many houses and aspects and different things are there, you will see. You'll see your sun, your moon, your ascendant, Virgo, Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, and where your sun breaks down, and where all those complicated things that I have learned, conjunct and sextile, all those things, Saturn. And I'm interested in Saturn because And so this is where you can find the courses for tarot. So if you are interested in something that I've shown you tonight, do my mini courses. They're all on there. And that's an example of learning major cards. Okay. And here we have the other courses, the court cards, of course. That's a beautiful one because people do find that difficult. And the advanced, which is part 2. I need to update this video because I've made that so it's perfectly clear that intermediate is part 1 and advanced is part 2. So I hope that you like my website. I've made it so I like it, and what I mean by that is it's the kind of things that I was looking for in my journey of absolutely wanting to know what is it all about and why. My screen's done something a little bit bonkers, so sorry about that. I haven't got a guest, so I don't know why it tried to bring it in. I will tell you, it might be something flew across my screen from Apple's software update, and it said, do you want us to stop your live broadcast while we update? It's like, no, I don't. So, oh, the joy of technology when it works, isn't it fabulous? So, yeah, my news tonight was we have now got a pet report for your pet, and you can find out all about them. You know, I've got dogs. I'm sorry, sometimes you do hear them in the background, but you know, they're family, aren't they? And they're communicating. They're just saying hi to you all, or you know, hi to each other. So thank you for having me. I hope that you enjoyed this. I talked about many things tonight, including pairs. Do know that the most important part of getting to be a reader is really know your cards. Don't feel that you've got to do a whole load of meanings. Try and look at how I am breaking down the story or the background of what the symbology is in the card. And every time you'll probably see something else. But when you combine it, you can see where it's going. i.e. when we looked at the Hierophant, a teacher, knowing what kind of organisation it was. We're not going to a counsellor, that would be the Hermit. We're going to the Hierophant, we're going to an organisation, you know, some sort of establishment, some sort of authority in there, not just the local sort of, you know, little group that's around the corner. And when we are expanding and learning something, always remember temperance is about higher learning. So is Hierophant. So I hope those little tips are going to really help you. Use your minor card. Do ask questions. Don't feel shy. You know, people sometimes say, oh, can we go back over the devil? Or I don't get the court cards, or I really don't like the swords. Understandable. Just talk to me and we'll try and sort it out, you know. Use the fact that I have helped people in their career as a tarot reader rather than just being a reader myself. Remember, I've put websites together, I've had a platform as Psychics, I've produced DVDs, I've produced a game, I've produced a tarot deck, my own website now, got YouTube channel now, but I had a YouTube channel back in, I think, 2007 for my old company. You can always go and look at, they are shorts actually, how that ended up being like that. You can go and have a look and see me doing tarot cards. Just put tarot Anne-Marie and yeah, you'll probably find a whole load of videos, and I don't look like I do now. Number one, I'm older and a few pounds lighter, but you can actually look and see how much experience I've actually gained and what a gift it is to be able to actually share it with like-minded people. So have a beautiful Tuesday wherever you are in the world, and do say hi. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Why? Because then you can look at the playlist, you can find everything we've done, You can actually go into the whole library of everything that's there. I'm sure you'll find something there. Go onto my website, go and look at the courses. There is nothing like them because nobody's gearing you towards a profession. They will, and then they'll leave you to it. Whereas if you look, you saw all the mini courses that I am offering. And it's not just about tarot, it's about the technique, it's about the spread, it's about the position, it's about the astrology, it's about the numerology, it's about the symbology. My little YouTube twice a week is never going to give you what's on those courses. So come check it out. And don't forget about the pets and the astrology. I'm sure there's something in there for everybody. And before I go, there is... So here's a PDF that's on the site if you want to have a look at this. This is just really nice sort of yes and no if that's what you want. And symbology really broken down simply for you. You know, it goes right back into the early ones, all of those. There you go. So that's a really nice one. You can download that too if you want to. Okay. So I try and get you the things that you asked me to, but I know that there's people watching that don't know that there. So I hope you don't mind me showing you that. You can get what you need there. Wish it was around when I was actually scratching and digging and trying to find everything about tarot all those years ago. I'm going. See you soon. Have a beautiful Tuesday, and I'll see you on Thursday, 5 o'clock. Don't forget now. And yeah, just say hi. It really is lovely when you actually put your lovely comments in. Till next time, I'll say bye-bye. And I'll play you out with our usual.